because inside myself I saw what hell is like. Hell is the mouth that bites and eats the living flesh with its blood, and the one being eaten howls with the light in his eye. Hell is pain as the light of the matter, and with the laughter of the light the tears run in pain. And the tear that comes from the laughter of pain is the opposite of redemption. I was seeing the inexorability of the roach with its ritual mask. I was seeing that was hell, the cruel acceptance of pain, the solemn lack of pity for one's own destiny. Loving the ritual of life more than one's own life, that was hell, where the one eating the other's living face was indulging in the joy of pain. For the first time I was feeling with hellish ferocity the desire to have had the children I never had. I wanted to have reproduced, not in 3 or 4 children, but in 20,000, my organic hellishness full of pleasure. My future survival in children would be my true present, which is not just myself, but my pleasurable species never interrupted. Not having had children left me spasmodic, as if confronting an addiction denied. That roach had had children, and I had not. The roach could die crushed, but I was condemned never to die, since if I died, even just once, I would die. And I wanted not to die, but to remain eternally dying as the delight of supreme pain. I was in hell pierced with pleasure like a low buzz of nerves of pleasure. And all that, oh, my horror, all that was happening in the wide heart of indifference, all that losing oneself in a spiraling destiny, and that does not get lost, and that infinite destiny made only of cruel present, I, like a larva, in my deepest inhumanity, since until then what had escaped me was my real inhumanity. I and we, like larvae, devour ourselves in soft flesh. And there was no punishment, that is hell, there was no punishment, since in hell we make the supreme delight of what would be punishment. In this desert we make of punishment yet another ecstasy of laughter with tears. In hell we make of punishment a hope for delight. So was this the other side of humanization and hope? In hell, that demonic faith for which I am not responsible, and which is faith in orgiastic life. The orgy of hell is the apotheosis of neutral. The joy of the Sabbath is the joy of getting lost in the atonal. What still frightened me was that even the unpunishable horror would be generously reabsorbed by the abyss of unending time, by the abyss of unending heights, by the deep abyss of the God, absorbed into the heart of an indifference. So unlike human indifference, since that was a self-serving indifference, a fulfilled indifference. It was an extremely energetic indifference, and all in silence in that hell of mine. Since laughter forms part of the volume of the silence, only in the eyes sparkled the indifferent pleasure. But laughter was in the blood itself and cannot be heard. And all this is in this very instant. It is in the now. Yet at the same time, the present instant is entirely remote because of the size grandeur of the God. Because of the enormous perpetual size, even whatever exists right now is remote. And the very instant that the roach is broken in the wardrobe, it too is remote in relation to the heart of the great self-seeking indifference that reabsorbs it with impunity. The grandiose indifference was that what was existing inside me. The grandiose indifference was that what was existing inside of me. The hellish grandeur of life, since not even my body delimits me. Mercy does not let my body delimit me. In hell, my body does not delimit me. And is that what I call soul? Living the life that is no longer the life of my body. Is that what I call impersonal soul? And my impersonal soul burns me. The grandiose indifference of a star is the soul of the roach. The star is the very exorbitance of the body of the roach. The roach and I aspire to a peace that cannot be ours. It's a peace beyond the size and destiny of the roach and of me. And because my soul is so unlimited that it is no longer me, and because it is so beyond me, because I am always remote to myself, I am as unreachable to myself as a star is unreachable to me. I contort myself to try to reach the present time that surrounds me, but I am still remote in relation to this very instant. The future, alas, is closer to me than the instant now. The roach and I are hellishly free because our living matter is greater than we are. We are hellishly free because my own life is so barely containable inside my body that I cannot use it. My life is used more by the earth than by me. I am so much greater than whatever I used to call I, that just by having the life of the world, I would have myself. It would take a horde of roaches to make a slightly sensitive spot in the world. Yet one single roach, just through its attention life, that single roach is the world. The whole most unreachable part of my soul, and which does not belong to me, is the one that touches my border with whatever is no longer I, and to which I give myself. All my anguish has been this unsurpassable and excessively closeness. I am more whatever within me is not. I am more whatever within me is not. And that's when the hand I was holding abandoned me. No, I am the one who pulled my hand away because now I must go alone. If I manage to return from the kingdom of life, I shall take your hand again and kiss it gratefully because it waited for me and waited for my path to go by, and for me to return thin, ravenous, and humble, hungry only for the little, hungry only for the less. Because sitting and unmoving there, I had started wanting to live my own remoteness as the only way of living my present. And that which is apparently innocent, that was once again a pleasure that resembled a horrendous and cosmic delight. To relive it, I let go of your hand. Because in that enjoyment there was no pity. Pity is being the child of someone or of something, but being in the world is the cruelty. Cockroaches gnaw each other and kill each other and penetrate each other in procreation and eat each other, an eternal summer that darkens into night, and eat each other in an eternal summer that darkens into night. How is a summer that boils and almost darkens into night? The present does not see the roach. The present time looks at it from such a great distance that it does not perceive the roach from the heights and only sees a silent desert. The present time does not even suspect, and the naked desert, the orgiastic festivals of gypsies, where reduced to small jackals we eat each other with the laughter of pain and free. The mystery of human destiny is that we are inevitable, but we have the freedom to carry out or not our inevitability. It depends on us to carry out our inevitable destiny. While inhuman beings like the roach carry out their own complete cycle without ever erring because they do not choose. But it depends on me to freely become whatever I inevitably am. I am the mistress of my inevitability. And if I decide not to carry it out, I shall remain outside my specifically living nature. But if I carry out my neutral and living nucleus, then within my species I shall be being specifically human. But becoming human can be transformed into an ideal and suffocate beneath accretions. To be human ought not to be an ideal for man who is inevitably human. Being human must be the way that I, living thing, obeying freely the path of whatever is alive, am human. I don't even need to care for my soul. It will inevitably care for me, and I don't have to make a soul for myself. All I have to do is choose to live. We are free, and that is hell. But there are so many roaches that they appear a prayer. My kingdom is of this world, and my kingdom was not only human. I knew, but knowing that would scatter death life, and a child in my womb would be vulnerable to being eaten by life death itself. And without a Christian word making sense, but there are so many children in the womb that they appear a prayer. At that moment, I had still not understood that the first sketch of what would become a prayer was already being born from the happy hell I had entered, in which I no longer wanted to depart. From that country of rats and tarantulas and roaches, my love, where enjoyment drips in fat drops of blood. Only the mercy of the God could yank me out of that terrible indifferent joy in which I was bathing, complete. For I was exulting. I was coming to know the violence of the happy dark. I was happy as a demon. Hell is my maximum.